is I lied to the people who wanted to make the 10-man guild, and I told them that I was on their side, but I wanted to talk to the people and see if we could come to an agreement, right? Because I didn't want the guild to fall apart, because then they wanted to raid at different times, I wouldn't have time to raid. So I got them to basically tell me everything that they were planning on doing. After that, I went and I talked to the guys who were the actual, the officers of the guild at the current time, and they didn't really, they obviously didn't want the guild to fall apart, and so I acted like a liaison for both of the groups, but neither of them knew that I was talking to the other group. So at that point, I got both of them to go into a call, and at that point, I'm trying to remember how it happened. Then we renegotiated the guild ranks, and one of the people who basically I hated got a promotion to kind of a pseudo officer rank, which is always a bad idea, by the way. And then, well, actually, let me go back a little bit longer. One person that she didn't like got promoted up to the pseudo officer rank, and then she quit the guild. So that was one win, okay? But then she came back, so we're gonna count that. I don't know how many wins are in this, okay? Because there's a lot of wins going on, so it's kind of hard for me to keep it all in my head. So at that point, she comes in back into Vent at 4 a.m. or so, crying to me and the current guildmaster at that time. Now, at that point, I had already known that the guildmaster and her were a little bit more than friends, but that pretty much confirmed it. And after that, she was re-invited to the guild and promoted back up to the same pseudo-officer rank, okay? And then at that point, the other person who was promoted up to officer, because this is a good little bonus there, I forgot to even mention this part, is that they asked me if I wanted to be an officer in the guild, which is actually what I entirely wanted to do, right? I wanted to subvert the people who were trying to make the 10-man guild, because they just wanted to be part of the team, and I also wanted to be in part of the leadership of the guild, because I thought things weren't going very well. So I basically threw out the idea of doing the 10-man guild by making a compromise between the two groups, and they promoted me up to officer for it. Now, of course, I said at the beginning, as we go during 3 hours, I will not. I don't open links, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, man. But I just do not open links. And so at that point, I obviously, if anybody ever offers you any sort of a large type of promotion or anything like that, the best thing to do is to act like you don't want it for one day, and then make it pretend like you thought it over, and then come back the next day and say you want it. So this was the next day. I said, yeah, I guess I can be an officer, right? And so then the two guys that were trying to subvert the guild ended up going back into the guild as normal raiders. And yeah, there's a lot going on in here, all right? Then that was whenever I got promoted up, and my other buddy Nerdslayer got promoted up. A couple other guys got promoted up, and then that was whenever the other guy promoted up. The girl quit. Then she comes back. Okay, then she comes back. That's where we're at right now. So she comes back. She's crying. She gets promoted back up to the pseudo officer rank. Then at that point, the other guy that got promoted up with me, my boy Nerdslayer, who actually turned out to be one of the worst tanks in the whole guild and almost made the guild fall apart. But at this point, he was doing what he needed to do. And so he logs on, because this was at 3 a.m. Nerdslayer logs on at 5 a.m., right? He gets on because he's a new officer, and he sees that she's back in the guild. Just opens up the guild news, clicks on her name, kicks her back out of the fucking guild. Kicks her right back out of the fucking guild. That was the most big dick executive decision I've ever seen anybody make in a guild ever. Alright? And so I got her out of the guild. I became an officer. I kept the guild together. And then on top of that, this is the fourth win. All of those morons that were in the guild bottoming out the DPS meters with 18k DPS on Heroic Ragnaros, I kicked every single one of them out of the guild that week. Alright? That's a win-win-win-win situation. That's how I did it. And that's how I became an officer in my guild. You know? You have to take advantage of chaos. You know? Put yourself in a situation where everybody else will fail and come out ahead. That's what you gotta do. That's what I did. Yep, that's right. That's me. See you tweet about groups alongside people legendaries. If I can do complete RNG drops. Yeah, it sure is. It sure is. Alright, this one, get story capture the story. Well, I told it probably, I'm probably forgetting a couple of details here. So, if I probably have a video of myself talking about the situation from closer to whenever it occurred. So it would be easier for me to actually like kind of go back and figure everything else out from that point. Pretty sure Hitler did it a certain way. Yeah, and it took like the whole world to get rid of him. So obviously, you know, he was doing something right, besides like being a fucking dick and setting people on fire and stuff. To step further, 5-win situation. I don't know if we have a 5-win situation. I should end that story with a Ric Flair. Wait, what? Let me think if there's anything else that, what do you call it? That happened after that. Well then, okay, so let's go ahead and fast forward. Let's go ahead and fast forward to, let's see. What would be the next best place to start? At the beginning of Mists of Pandaria, alright? See, we had, see, another guy, see, the 5 guys that got promoted up, I believe. It's like 4 or 5. Got promoted up whenever I got promoted up, was a guy named Nerdslayer, a guy named Disbeliever, a guy named Scrubbles, and me, right? And Disbeliever, the guild leader who was like dating the girl that I called out, even though I had no evidence for it, I just knew it was true. He quit the game, and then what he did basically is he gave leadership over to Disbeliever. And Disbeliever, like, really, okay, so let me take you guys through a normal raid with Disbeliever, okay? Think of Mythic or Heroic Stone Guard, the first boss in Mogushan Vaults. Tanking is fucked. Just completely fucked. Everything about tanking is just fucked on that fight. Right, because they can't figure it out. Like him, Nerdslayer, and then like this other guy, Timio. All 3 of their combined, you know, expertise as a tank really were not able to figure this fight out. And then I was also tanking at the same time. Story is all over the place. Yeah, I know. It's because my brain's all over the place. It's hard for me to think. Yeah, anyway, hold your gameplay back at all? No, I don't think so, man. I think it actually helps it, even though I'm not autistic. So anyway, so Nerdslayer, Disbeliever would open up his mic, you'd hear a screaming baby, his wife yelling at him, and him yelling all at the same time at the raid. So, if it's not obvious already, we sure didn't get a lot done. And what I did basically is whenever we had a week off, I said that I was going to make a 10-man group, and I was going to take all of the best players in the guild and try and go for the server first Mogushan Vault's heroic kill. And for the Will of the Emperor. And I knew that we would have been able to do it, because it would have been half of my group that I got server first challenge modes with, and also the other half of the group was like people who were like really, really good also. Like we had like Trictagon in there, and I think like Reg was in there, and so like all the big dicks, right, that you guys already know about. So Disbeliever at first, so he made a poll on the guild, because I was pretty much I did this without really consulting with him. He was like very much like, he was, you know, he was like an ex-military, right? So he was very much into like top-down decision making and everything like that. And so me doing this kind of like subverted his authority. And I knew that that was going to happen. So at that point, since we weren't doing a main raid, I knew that it would be okay to do that and most people would be on my side. Even though it made him look bad and allowed everybody else to see that he didn't really have as much authority as he did. So at that point, he made a poll on the guild website to show and ask people if they felt like, should we do this or not? Should they allow me to do this or not? And at that, so he had the votes, and he said that he said he was not particular one way or another, right? And as an officer rank on the website, I was able to see who voted which way, and he actually voted against what I wanted to do, even though he said he was impartial. So after it came out that he got outvoted like 70-30 or something like that, or it was actually like 80-20, then we actually were able to make the group because he said he made it up to a vote, and so if he went against the vote, obviously he'd look really bad. And so after he went up to against the vote, or he tried to go against the vote, then he tried to ask me to actually take a spot in the group because, you know, he's the guild leader. At that point, I told him that I wasn't going to take him because he wasn't a good player, right? And he was the guild leader of our guild and also the raid leader, and so me telling him I'm not going to like let him have a spot in the group really makes him look bad, right? And there was nothing he could really do about it either. So at that, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that. Hopefully this invulnerability stops fall damage. Let's see if it does. No, it does. Great. So anyway, I told him he couldn't come, and we already had a better group. Basically, that's what I told him. And so then at this point, he was like talking about how he was like drinking, and he was like really upset. and you know, he felt like everybody was like betraying him, and he didn't know like really what was happening. And so we actually didn't even get the server first, right? We didn't even get the server first. And I didn't even know if we would or not. I thought that we would. We didn't have enough time. People were really late. There were a lot of external circumstances, and also we just didn't really do very well. We were able to kill, who was that boss? It was actually pretty hard. Spirit Kings pretty easily, and I had actually built the group for killing, what do you call it? The main boss, the Will of the Emperor, and so like us killing Spirit Kings was like a pretty big success. And at that point, he, you know, he was talking about how much that tore the guild apart and everything like that. Then I posted a screenshot of himself voting against something whenever he told everybody else that he was being impartial, which basically made him untrustworthy to the rest of the guild, which caused him to not only quit the guild, he quit the entire game because of it. So that was what happened that time. And that was probably that was one of the ones that I was most proud of, because of how much I felt like he basically he was sabotaging the guild by being with his incompetence. And at that point, I'm trying to think about what happened after that. But yeah, he quit the entire game after that because I basically like subverted like pretty much everything that he'd worked for. He looked like a fucking moron in front of everybody. He quit the entire game, and he just had basically a complete mental breakdown. So then at that point, things were going pretty well because I was back, you know, like calling shots and everything like that. Fast forward to another couple of weeks later, or months later, sabotaging the guild for his own incompetence. That's true. It's what he did, right? And that makes you proud? Well, yeah, I led the guild to victory, despite that. We killed basically all of the bosses there. Our guild rank improved as I trimmed the fat out of the guild, basically. And yes, I'm proud of that because I led our team to success, despite our leaders trying to prevent us from doing so. So that was one of the other times that that was another like pretty good situation. So I got rid of him, and I got rid of a couple of other people too at the same time. It's a video game to ruin some guy's life. Well, he was ruining our raid. So what do you expect? Like, I mean, I don't know really what you expected me to do. What? Oh, I ate nag so much all you do is nag. Remind me of your mother. Oh, what's that? You have gotten some fat man caught on. Well, no, I know. We weren't able to. Over when we donated $2. I think it was before the Third Reich. Yeah. No, I didn't do anything. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Can you do your YouTube intro? Oh, it's pretty early enough. Sup, y'all? It's me. It's your boy, ASMAGOLD. There you go. Alright, so let's go ahead and, let's go. So this, like, this put me in a good mood, man. Thinking about how much I played them, man. It was so good. So, like, I have like a whole hour-long video, and, like, so back in the day, also, I made my own guild. And this was back when I was, like 18.